So welcome back to the Crying
Hey,
Baby
how's it going?
podcast. Because the last time we left the podcast, I was crying like a baby, and I'm not sure if you saw the end of episode 19. I did not
Happy
mean to
tears,
do
huh?
that
It's all
actually.
good.
Um, I was just talking, and then just the emotions got the best of me. But I basically had an emotional moment where, as you know, the show is about the American dream and trying to chase the American dream. And I came to this country in 1980. I was born in 1976. I was 5-ish, right? And with nothing. We escaped Vietnam, literally on a boat. We got caught. And then we made it to Thailand. And then once we made it to Thailand, we were sponsored by a church group to come to America at the age of 4 or 5. I worked really hard. My parents fought a lot because of money. They basically were worried about money all the time. They didn't get to see us a lot. I was essentially raised by my two brothers and me, and the public school system, and then eventually the private school called Roxbury Latin, which pretty much raised me. As a little kid from 7th grade to 12th grade, and I was lucky enough to make it to Harvard. But even that after that, I've been struggling ever since then. Like I said in previous episodes, I've been having, you know, does my credit card actually work? Do I have enough cash? All this stuff because I'm trying to make the American dream come true. Not the average American dream where you kind of go and become an accountant, a lawyer, or a doctor, but to do a startup, which is incredibly hard, incredibly stressful, as you've been through this week, right, with us, with Mass Realty. I'd love to chat more about that and also some, your own personal journey, like my personal journey, because this is a real reality show about trying to start a company, what it's like to start a company, what the drama is of starting a family in the year 2022, right after COVID, and also, the other part of this is to share this information because we believe that genius is evenly distributed, but opportunity may not be. And so to see firsthand someone actually trying to make it and maybe even making it. So I actually, want to kind of reiterate what happened last show because it was very important. So after all this work, all these 20 odd years, I'm 45 years old now, right? None of my companies made it except my last company, Clinical Research IO, which I'm very proud of, where I was the CEO, co-founder of that company in 2016, and we grew it to right before COVID, where the company was going to be acquired, and I had left the company, and then COVID happened. So in my life, there was so many moments where I was close to being a millionaire, whether on paper, I was always a millionaire on paper for all this time, but in the bank there was nothing. And there was no way to cash out because, as a startup, you have to go to the end. Otherwise, you get nothing. And so that's the thing that people don't understand. It's a hard journey. And a lot of people fail along the way you don't hear about. And, we could have failed, and we are still failing at Mass Realty, right? And we have to get that in order. But Clinical Research IO shows that I kind of figured out the formula. And then Phuc Labs is kicking butt, right? So Phuc Labs and Mass Realty kind of started in the same place. So it's almost like an actual test of two startups, two ideas, two different teams, the same co-founder, the same head, and the two different results. And I want to talk about that in this show
For sure.
today. You know what I'm saying? And I want to say the glaring difference between this and this. And then we can still fix it. And I want to see us fix it live. It's kind of like a fixer upper. A home is like a fixer upper. Just because it has no leaks in the sink, you don't throw it away. Especially if you invest a lot of time and effort, and that's the bones are good, but at the same time, you can't be living in a leaking home forever. I mean, at some point, you got to really take a choice and say, hey, do I want to be a winner? Do I want to try hard? Do I want to make this a hobby, or do I want this to be a profession? Do I want to be a professional? Will I take this so seriously that this person seems like a complete asshole, crazy person who just wants to get this done all the time? That's all they think about. They can't shut up. Because that's the type of attitude you need. And if you don't have that attitude and you don't want it that badly, you probably want a regular job.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because typically it takes that attitude, but not necessarily that time, but that spirit of we need to have this happen, otherwise my life would not be fulfilled. Right? So that's one thing I want to ask you guys. So in this show, right, Roberto and Magali, have you been inspired?
Throughout the whole show? Yeah, for sure. There's definitely been
Yeah.
some great moments, huh? Like awesome moments of truth and just straight up giving information and everything, and it keeps you going. To know that, let's say like in the last episode, where you see it's like it happens, so you just have to like push on until it does. Huh?
So how about you, Magli? What do you think?
I mean, I think since I've been working with you, yeah, you always have this passion, this little fire, this little craziness that is inspiring. And every single meeting that we have that's a business meeting, it almost sounds like a mentor, giving motivational speech. You're very.
Yeah, but it's hard, right? It's hard because you're the only one sometimes, and it's really hard because sometimes you tell people an inspirational speech and they go rah rah, and then what happens in a week is it doesn't happen, right? And so you feel like you have to carry this load like a weight on your shoulder, and that's what a lot of people don't understand is like it's really hard to start something, to be a founder, to do anything new in life at all, a new relationship, a new job, moving across the country. But the question is, why are you doing it? And so, why are you guys here? Why are you doing this show? Why have you worked with me instead of leaving after all the tantrums and all the arguments and all the fights that we might have had, or insecurities that we both have, or things that didn't go right or go wrong? Why are you still here?
For anybody to answer, like me, man, like I'm here.
Yeah,
I do
go
believe in
ahead.
everything you've been doing so far, and we've been pushing through. Maybe I haven't been in it since the beginning, like Magali has, but it has. Like it's a good project, and I like our team.
Which one, Mass Realty or Phuc
Both.
Labs?
Actually, like from a
Okay.
more like altruistic sense, Phuc Labs is like honestly like all those videos and everything that we were doing at the beginning and all of it. Of course, there's like more of a global humanitarian outcome to all of it. Like if you get since we have kids and everything, like like knowing that there will be something for them once this like gears and engages out, it will be. It has been an inspiration to keep pushing on this one.
So, what grade would you give our progress at Phuc Labs?
As of when? Because I feel like there's been so many steps to each part of them. Like there's been different levels of everything that's been being done.
Yeah, but I'm saying, would you give us like an A or B, or what kind of grade would you give us?
Well, I don't know where you got like where we're at right now. So I'd
Let's
say
say
like
8 out of 10 for Phuc Labs. And then I guess the follow-up question is Mass Realty, and I guess it's a 5.
Why the
I
difference?
mean, I think that the team in Mass Realty isn't like stable and fixed. We've kind of been trying to look for new members to the team, and it's been a little ups and downs, not a lot of stability or constants in the team. I think could be one of the reasons.
Okay. So, do you think the new members are actually pulling their weight, or do you think they're not?
I think
What do you think?
they might be great and have good potential, but they're students. They're only part time. They only have a few hours, and they're really like just trying to learn it all at once. So it is challenging. It is a lot to take on for people that are maybe available 10 hours a week and have a lot of other things going on with their studies and such.
So, what do you think happens at the end of the, let's say, 6 month experiment that we have? Let's say, because I think Mass Realty, just so the audience knows, we are going to make sure that if it works this spring and summer, we will continue it. If it doesn't work by the end of the summer, we won't continue it. So it doesn't matter if they're students or they're not students. If it's like a time period that's fixed, do you think this is something that like students can handle or students can't handle?
Depends on the students. I think they're motivated. I think they're motivated and that they want to. So maybe. Yes.
Well, I know because I was a student when I started my company. I was a junior in college, and I basically started my company, and I know what it takes. And right now we had Drew on, we had Fat on. They hopefully will pull it off. But I think it is possible. Students are able to do this, but it takes a special, not just student, but even an adult, right? What do you think it takes for an adult
well,
to
they
do
are
this
adults
correctly?
though. I mean, like
Yeah,
at
but
this
that's
point,
the thing. A lot of
I'm just saying all of
drive,
us,
a
like
lot
like
of drive, and yeah, feel wanting to go above and beyond.
it's seeing like the bigger picture at the end of it. Like where do you want to be like in I don't know like 5 years or in 2 years or in 6 months if anything, and try to break that down to make it happen to like smaller steps. But it's understanding the process, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So let me give you kind of an overview of I think what I think is going on, right? So I would say Phuc Labs were like a 9 out of 10. I think we're basically this is probably the most perfect company I've set up in my entire career. I would give it a 10, but we haven't finished the funding yet. But once we finish the funding and finish creating revenue, it will be a 10 out of 10. It's a rocket ship. Companies like this do not come along often. It really once in a lifetime. Mass Realty, we're like a C minus right now. I would say like I said, a 5. I would agree with you, Magali, right? It's salvageable, but the question is the people on the team, the desire, the motivation. Because again, the plan for Phuc Labs, the plan for Mass Realty has been laid out by the same leader, by basically the same person who's trying to get two teams together. So the question is, which two teams would gel? And even Phuc Labs, we actually are going to let go of some people, and we have. We've actually let go of a couple of people, and we've went through that. But luckily, Phuc Labs was a bigger idea. So the bigger idea, and also it was a scientific thing that we discovered that was new, and it was harder. It was harder to do Mass Realty to get someone to invest in it because it was a softer thing to sell. It was a concept. It was a marketplace. It was something that maybe it'll work, maybe it doesn't work. Whereas Phuc Labs, you can just open your eyes and see the magic happen. You see the difference there? So don't take it to heart that things are not where they're supposed to be. But the question is where the attitude is. I say the attitude. What do you think the attitude of Phuc Labs? People are pretty motivated. I would say half the team is motivated, and the other half needs a little bit of work. But everyone is A caliber skill. Okay? That's my honest assessment. Everyone there I would keep. And everyone is an A player. So the A player is really important to have, and the B player you need to let go of right away. And here's why. Okay? So the A player is always fantastic. Like you guys are A players. That's why you're still here. Otherwise we would not have this podcast. We wouldn't be here at all. And the loyalty goes a long way too. Because as long as you have effort and loyalty and all that stuff, but you also bring a real hard skill. You got Miley, I can always turn to you for amazing graphic designs. It's hard to find a good graphic designer, right? And then same thing with you, Roberto. You're amazing at videos. You guys are really smart, but you guys also stay in your lane. So if you have to kind of like give my assessment of you guys, because we're gonna do a live assessment here on this show a little bit, right? You can also live assessment me because we're trying to change each other's game. But also I want to have you guys understand what happens in a room where we have a management executive meeting. So I want to turn this podcast into executive coaching for you guys, right? But also an executive meeting, a board meeting for Mass Realty. Okay, a board meeting for this podcast, a board meeting for like what we want to do moving forward. Okay, if we were the 3 board members of Mass Realty, what do you think would have to change?
Right now, if I had to, yeah, go ahead.
In my opinion, if I was actually the one head that had to lead the whole operation, I do think that we need some budget for specialized skilled people. Not like I feel it's hard.
How much budget do you think, Magli?
Not a lot of budget, maybe maybe less than 1,000 each for 2 people, that would work part-time, but 2 really skilled person, for example, one that's expert in mailing, one that's expert in ClickFunnels, and working with people that are really like already understand the whole thing, have worked for years in that area. So you can just pitch in the ideas and give the content, and they'll just make it roll and make it happen really quickly. This is
Okay.
what I instead of
Like a $5,000, $10,000 budget.
So instead of trying to form someone from scratch that doesn't have that kind of background and try to form them in so many different platforms, I would personally think it would be better budget wise and time wise to actually hire people that are super skilled in those aspects.
How about you, Roberto? Anything? So you're saying, just to summarize this correctly, you need a small budget to try to go to Upwork and hire some talent to fill what gaps? The gaps. What gaps do you think they need to fill?
Well, it's more
honestly, the team is kind of not really. None of us have a true marketing background. Usually I do only graphic design. Roberto does only animation and video production. And the interns do some other things that are not marketing, so there's no one on the team that really is except maybe you, but you're obviously busy running all those teams. So
So you're saying no one knows marketing on this team, and we need someone who does marketing all the time.
someone that has a deep
And the people that we hired, the students, we shouldn't hire those students. We should basically have someone who's professional do it instead.
well, I'm not saying that, but
Well, you can hire them like if you have them around as well, like kind of like if in the long term what you want is to have them around, you could hire like this particular person that is good at what they do already, and have the interns or whatever students like just shadow them and hang out and try to ask questions and explain that as part of their like job description.
Who manages marketing in this equation?
Right now, I think it's fat.
Okay, you say that you want to get an expert on Upwork. Would the Upwork person be the one that becomes the marketing manager for us?
I mean, if we wanted to hire an actual marketing manager, it would be a much bigger budget than what I mentioned. What I was thinking is really like an active campaign, for example, professional to work on mailings. So we would provide all the ideas, all the concept for your mails, and I can design them. But someone that really knows automation and how to make it all be automated and that kind of stuff. And then someone that has been doing full-time funnels, for a long time, so they know what kind of funnels work, what kind of funnels we're missing, which one we should implement, and know all that kind of specific.
But who here coordinates all that work? Are you saying you're going to coordinate all that work?
I feel comfortable making it. If I know that.
Okay, so you want to take responsibility for marketing, and so you want to be head of marketing.
Yes, but hiring people that under me that do, for example, one mailing, one.
How much budget do you want? I have money now. I have $1 million now.
Yeah.
So you guys, I'm not sure if you guys knew the amount. The amount that I have $1 million coming to me very, very soon.
Oh.
Not yet. I have documents coming my way.
Awesome.
And I'll tell you something freaky that happened.
Let's hear the freaky stuff.
So that came out of nowhere, right? So basically, what happened was the other week, I was thinking of what to do with my money. And I said, here's the thing I need to do with this money. I need to give away or help as many people as I can. So I wanted to basically help my friends, my family, and actually I took like 200,000 of it, even more than that, maybe even 300, just to pay back loans, pay back things, people help me get them out of situations, and free as many people out of the matrix of worry as possible, where they get rid of credit card debt and all that stuff, as much as I can within modest reason. And the reason why I did this is so I can have the universe be on my side, so that basically all of our karma can hopefully root for this to happen. And thank you for the process happening, even with the Ukraine war that happened suddenly. I thought that was going to derail the situation and the stock market and oil prices and all that, and then suddenly, it actually ended happening. It happened out of nowhere, where my last company was doing very well, and we just raised a Series B, and we actually raised quite a bit of money, and as part of that, I was able to cash out. And the documents actually should be on the way. I haven't signed it yet, but I did look at the final version. Everything has been approved. All the bells, all the dots, the I's and T's have been crossed. People just have to sign it. Once I sign it, the money will be wired to my bank in a few days. I actually gave them the banking account, so I know something's going to happen, hopefully. And I'll tell you a weird story. I was just kind of walking, and I spilled some water, hot water, on my shirt, okay? And I was thinking I was joining the 2 comma club. So 2 commas, like in $1 million, that's 2 commas. And I spilled it on my shirt, and actually, I think for some reason, it made a tattoo randomly on my shirt. I'm not sure you guys can see this. I'm going to show this in the YouTube. But it looks like 2 commas. And because I spilled some water on my chest, the left chest, right here, you can see in the YouTube if you go to the podcast here. It looks like 2 commas originally, but I have no idea how that happened. I was thinking I was joining the 2 comma club. I was praying that it would happen, and I spilled some hot water, and I guess I was wearing a sweatshirt or something, and it just kind of seeped through a certain way, and it made 2 marks like that right here on my chest, where a medal should be. So I'm not sure if that's like a sign or something, but that was weird. That was a weird story. But anyway, now we have the revenue. So what kind of budget do you think, Margalie? What do you think would be good? What's fair?
I will research on Upwork talents to see their hourly rates, and I can present a budget for you. It doesn't have to. We don't have to
Okay.
go crazy or go huge, but maybe 1,000 for someone in mailing and 1,000 for someone in ClickFunnels, and we can keep the interns. They're super motivated. I think they have good potential. And
Okay. So why don't we do this? I actually spoke this a little bit before, but I'm gonna give you guys $10,000 each. Okay. So, but I'd like you to put 5,000 of that, 5,000 of that each into Mastery OT. Okay. So you keep 5,000 for yourself, spend on what you want for your kids, whatever, and the other 5 put into the company. Okay. And then that is your contribution to the company, and we can use that $10,000 budget between the two of you, right? And I also put, another 10,000 myself. So the budget will be $20,000 in the bank. You guys can start using. Do you think that's enough, Magali?
Yeah.
Okay. Roberto, do you think that's fair?
No, definitely. Like it's reinvesting in
Okay.
ourselves, man.
So,
And if there's somebody I believe in, it's in
right.
us.
So now you have skin in the game, real skin. I gave you 10,000, and then 10,000. So I'm going to put 20,000 in the bank. The 5,000 is each yours, and I'll give you 5,000 each individually. And I'll, anything we owe you from the past, we'll take care of, right? And I want this to be a reset for us.
Yeah.
Okay, where I'm going to give you the resources you need, because we want to get from a 5 to like a 9. Okay. How about you, Roberto? What do you think you need? What do you think we can improve?
Improve, man. Like on the team, I think Magali kind of set it up. Like it's more like a skill set kind of situation, and it does take time to mentor and to pick things up the way we need them, like to be at the level that we need them to be. And I get potential, like by all means, but potential does take time. Like you still have to put in the work, and that's not where we're at right now. Like especially like from
Okay, so can you get? So yeah, it's like basically hope is just a plan. It's not a plan, right? Hope is just like, or like I hope we do this. I hope this happens. I hope that. But so someone has to tangibly make
definitely.
a plan.
And there's that issue like as well, like that.
Okay.
We're not like the whole mastery. Like I get like getting interns and everything, but like that there was one guy that I saw only once in one of the meetings that because he had classes and then he dropped out, and then he wasn't in the meetings anymore, and so it's that like you need to be available, and you need to have like put in the time, and this has to be like kind of a priority per se within your own life. And that's one of the not issues, but I mean like just like different life choices and life situations and positions that the students have. Like the classes are always going to be a priority. Getting their degree is going to be the priority always at all times. And I get that there's
So are you saying that Dhruv and Fat aren't good co-founders?
maybe not good co-founders, but there is some like there is a learning curve here that has to be considered within at this point where we're at. And
So let me ask you an honest question. Now that we reset, and you guys are the co-founders, and we're on the board of Master OT, we have to make hard decisions. Okay. You know how you say, I don't want to be, we're fighting against the man. They always do this to us. We are they now. We're in the boardroom. We represent they. Okay. I want you to show you guys that they is actually people like us. They are people who just normal people who made it to the top. They like Google always screws you, or like Amazon always does this, or they is people like us. We're making decisions right now. This is how road decisions are made. So what do you think should happen? Do we think we should post an ad for a co-founder locally here?
What we need is a video content creator, I think, for Roberto's team. Someone that's locally in Massachusetts that can actually go and film and get.
yeah, like I need a foot soldier. Right?
Okay, why don't we do this? Do you think this would be a nice $60,000 job for someone?
Even less, I think 60.
Less than that.
Okay, so can you guys do a job posting? And I'll authorize one hire full time to do this.
Awesome.
But they're not a founder. They're just
Exactly.
working for us. They're just going to take videos based on your assignments.
Sure.
Okay? So we solved that. So number one was you needed a budget.
Yeah.
Okay? So instead of putting 20K in it, right? I'll put 50K in it. Okay? And of the 50K, we're going to hire this full-time person. And using the 50K, pay them for the first year. And hopefully we'll make some money along the way. But obviously we have some leeway of how we spend the 50 a day, like in terms of like the timing. We can spend some of it for ads, some of it for the salary. But ultimately that person only has 1 year of salary. After that, they're gone. unless we make it work.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. What else do you think we need?
I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to. I prefer to go small and keep it growing than just blow the whole budget. But then it would be someone for the writing part, like the content creation that I just mentioned. I was talking like video, people filming, but someone that can write the articles. We do have someone that we've used before, but we stopped using her because we had no budget. So writing articles also to go with those videos would be good.
But isn't that a la carte? Isn't that per video? Isn't that the consulting budget that we want to pay per our content? So my question is this, right? If we can't create one piece of content and make money, we can't spend $1 and make $2. In other words, then why are we spending that money on that content creator? Let's try to figure out ourselves, write the content ourselves. Can you write? Can I write? Can Roberto write? Can that person we hire write? Maybe. Figure it out, and then we can then hire that person. Once we know that that person that we hire can write, let's say, do one article and do one thing, and we can make something out of it.
Yeah, definitely. It can be like part of the job.
Do we wait
posting.
for that, or do we want to do it right now? Can you guys like maybe roll up your sleeves and do some of that?
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe we can use that some consulting budget for that. Like again, the $50,000 could be for the salary, but you can use some of that upfront for some consulting, right? And then hopefully along the way, the 50 is not fixed. Don't forget, did you guys notice we made $3,000 last month?
Nice.
Right? You didn't notice that. That's the whole
That's what we
point.
usually make.
See?
3,000.
Right. We should have a mixed panel. Once we have the mixed panel, we can see it. But remember what I said? Like even without us doing a good job, we'll have a spring bounce where we used to make 2,400 and now we have made 3,000. But had we had the site working and all the stuff working, we were making 4,000 or 5,000. So don't forget, that's the budget we're getting in addition to the 50,000 in the bank. You see that? So that's the budget that we're supposed to take the $3,000, the $2,000, right? Because we don't have rent. You don't really have much cost except maybe some fees. So maybe that's $1,000 for the hosting and some of the fees we have to pay for MLS, right? You still have $1,000 to $1,500 left, $1,000 to $2,000 every month for consulting, to create content and other stuff. You guys okay with that?
Okay.
Right? And then we take that budget, and if we make more money, then next month we make $10,000 a month, and we take $5,000 to make content and says $2,000, and then the $5,000 becomes $20,000, and so on and so forth. Does that make sense?
Well, let's keep growing, man.
That's exactly what I did for my bootstrap business for Mass Realty the first time. So Mass Realty the first time, I said, let's do it slowly. Let me create 10 articles and then see what happens. Oh my God, I made more money. Let me get some more links. Let me do some more work. And then slowly, organically, kind of like farming. You farm slowly and you make progress. And then you see what works and you adjust. And then finally you find 4 or 5 things that you always plant. You always plant broccoli because broccoli is always good. You always do it a certain way. You always, do it a certain time of year, and you always send it. So basically, the email marketing was the way that I got more content, or just making our own content. Like we talked about some of those strategies. Okay, what's stopping us from right now? So this person, you're saying we're gonna say this person is the only thing holding us back. Is that true? Let's self-reflect. Can we do anything right now before this person joins?
Oh, I can restructure a little bit of it, like assign clear roles on each, like for real thing. Like I don't know how to put it in words right now. See, well, what we were doing actually, but do it for real. Like make people accountable for what you have to do. This, and this, and
so you think that's something that's important that we're missing right now, right?
I do think it is like the enforcement of things. And to have people be like for real, like this is what is your availability, and be just true with everything. Just what is the actual time and work you're willing to put into this, and see if it aligns with what we need or not.
You seem very professional when you deliver that. Do you think you can be the accountability officer for our
sure.
company?
I'll keep everybody.
Yeah. Can you make a list of things that people are
Yes.
accountable for, and then
I
call
will
them
make a
out,
list.
and just maybe talk to them privately, and then that way
Yeah,
I don't
for
have to
sure.
do it?
Then I'll have to break some legs, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
How about you, Magli? Can you do it too in your way?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you guys are going to start helping me, right? So how would that work? How would you make people accountable?
Yeah, can ask every day for a daily report of the advances they've done. That would be it.
And what would you ask for? What would be the things you
I
ask
mean,
for?
I've given tasks to everyone that they have to work on. So, for example, Drew has to work on the content of the emails, but has quite a few tasks right now also assigned to him. And we kind of want to make it all happen within a week or two. So just every day asking for what progress there's been on those
And we need like a
tasks.
true layout of like, let's say Fat, for example, just as an example. If he's working on many things and on top of that he has classes and then he has other like this same accountability but in other companies and other places, we just need to know exactly like what our elements to move forward are.
Right. So we need something like a Zen Hub board, right? Some type of GitHub, some type of organization board that has sticky notes. These are all the things that people have to do. These are the deadlines. These are the people doing it. This is how long they think it will take. These are these promises that we're making. And then someone will keep that up to date, the list of promises.
But it has to be like a like.
Does that
it
make
does
sense?
make sense. But that's the thing. It has to be like a realistic kind of, because I'm not gonna like pile up on like this huge workload on somebody I know, or that they think they can do, because it affects all of us.
Sure. So between the two of you, who do you think is the best of keeping that organization?
It's me. That's me for sure.
So do you want to volunteer for that? So when we do a teamwork, you make people organized, and if you have problems, actually, well, Roberto, you QA what Magali does, and then help Magali enforce it.
I'll be the muscle man.
Can you guys do that?
Yeah. And it's
Okay.
recorded for posterity.
So what else do you think we can? So accountability is a problem. Resources was a problem. We've solved accountability because you've decided to be accountable, Magali, by organizing some type of. Do you like the Zen? Do you like Notion? Do you like Zen Hub? What kind of technology do you want? Airtable?
Yeah, I don't really mind. Personally, I use Trello, but they all do, It doesn't
Why don't we use Trello then? Can we use Trello then? Because are you comfortable with
yeah.
Trello?
I mean, I can also use any
Okay.
other one that you want. They're all pretty much.
Well, can we use Notion because the other company is using Notion? Can
Yeah,
you give
sure.
that a shot?
Yeah.
Okay, we do have a Scrum board, and we can have Fat
Sounds good.
do that. Okay, so we have a problem with accountability, and we're going to solve it by you two stepping up. You, Magali, doing the board to organize all the promises, all the to-dos, and then everyone will make promises that are reasonable. And Roberto, you can make sure that
And
people are
everything's
accountable.
reinforced.
And then you're going to have one-on-ones with them every day or so, both of you guys, and you guys are going to be leaders of this company. Does that
Yes.
make sense? Okay. What do you think is going wrong as well with our company? Okay, let me ask you a question. If you guys are doing this, what's Drew's role?
He's the content creator.
I'm not
no?
sure. What's
Not
his
bad.
background? What is he studying right now?
I thought he was doing ClickFunnels.
Yeah, ClickFunnels. But have you seen any ClickFunnels from him?
No, but if we want him to be that person, I'll tell him and I'll monitor it to make sure that he makes advances.
So the question is this. If he was supposed to do the ClickFunnels challenge and he did it for like 30, 40 days, he's supposed to be done with the ClickFunnels challenge, which is, by the way, if you guys don't know what the ClickFunnels challenge is, it's a training program where 30 days you have to have an output where it guides someone like young,
Yep.
like Drew, who doesn't know ClickFunnels and doesn't know anything about marketing. And from day one, gives them a 30-day course where the output of that is a finished product.
Yeah.
Did you see a finished
No,
product?
No, it's not close. Well, that's what I was saying. Like, we come back to that part of at the beginning. Like, even if you get the potential, if there is a learning curve.
So here's my executive decision. I gave Drew an audition. I said, if you do the 30-day ClickFunnels challenge and you have the output of having good ClickFunnels, then you will be hired. And if you don't do that, you won't be hired. Let's make the decision of not hiring him at this point
He was in a previous show.
because it's beyond 30 days. No,
Yes.
I'm serious because here's
Yes.
why.
Okay, no, that's true. He didn't deliver.
I'll explain to you something that I think it's a very hard decision. We're doing it in the boardroom now. It's very public. But the reason why I think I'd like to do this is because, like I said, there's A players and B players. Okay? I had in my last company, the one that I made a lot of money from, by the way, when we're doing very well. We're very profitable. We're making a ton of money. And we actually do a really good job with the product that we do. We have a really, really amazing team. when I was there, we grew to 15 people. But of the 15 people, I would say about 10 were A players and 5 were B players. I'll tell you what the B players did. The B players were super nice. They're enthusiastic. They worked really hard, but they didn't have the skill set, and they were inconsistent. And sometimes they didn't have the desire that they said they did. They said they were going to work hard, that if they had an opportunity, they would do something, A, B, or C, and work a certain way. And when you actually give them the opportunity, they don't do that. They show up randomly to Scrum meetings, right? Which I notice. He doesn't show up to meetings. He inconsistently tells you when he's there or when he's not. And when he does, he shows up late. He's always late. You guys notice that
Yeah.
too? You guys are shaking your head
no,
up and
that's
down.
true.
Okay. He also hasn't finished his assignment and has no clue where his assignment is in terms of the status of it until called out.
Yeah.
During the process, he was checked in many times about how the progress was. He said, great, great, great. He looked like he was making progress at the beginning. Remember? He was chatting with us a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
And then all of a sudden it
He
faded.
was just part of the background now.
It faded, right? That is how it always works with interns. That is how it always works with entrepreneurs. Those are the adult versions of the same thing. A entrepreneur wants to be an entrepreneur, but when it comes down to the work, they lose interest very quickly. They revert back to what the default, which is this is nice to watch Shark Tank, but when you're on Shark Tank, it's a lot of work. Do you agree with the assessment or not?
Yeah, I do agree, and especially like leaning on your experience and everything. Like if you've already seen this happen a bunch of times and you know where it's headed, then might as well get rid of it right away.
Right. This is not. This is a partnership. It wasn't like it's not firing. It's like, hey, look, we want a co-founder. We want to have someone help this because I'm really busy with Phuc Labs. I can't do this. I need leaders to take this. Obviously, I can give some of the leadership in terms of the direction, strategy, be on the board like we are today. But he was supposed to take that marketing position that now we're going to spend $50,000 hiring someone else to do.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And now he's no longer someone who add value. In fact, he did such a bad job that we had to hire a replacement. So we hired a replacement to do his job so that he looks good and be a co-founder. Do you think that's fair?
No, it's not.
Magali, what do you think?
No, especially when you had a clear cut.
You're shaking your head.
Like it was very like there was a task to be done as part of your probation, and task didn't happen.
Magali, do you agree?
If it's been 30 days and he hasn't finished the 30-day challenge, then yes, I agree.
And that was a single task to audition. It was made clear, if you want to be on this team, you must do this thing. You were there when I said that many times, right? When did I say that? How long ago do you think?
I don't know, but yeah, if it's not 30 days, it's pretty close to that.
Oh, I know exactly. It was January.
It's been 3 months, 2 months.
Like I said,
Remember, he was on vacation.
Yeah.
He was on he was on break, winter break in January, and he was doing this ClickFunnels challenge, and he was super enthusiastic, and he came back with nothing.
yeah, man, we're in March now.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, because even if you were like procrastinating a bit, at some point you do have that moment of like, man, what am I doing? And you
It really
sit down
just
and put in
takes
the
an
work.
hour, yeah.
So last week, what happened? I yelled at the team, right? Were you guys mad at me that day?
Nope.
Definitely not me. They were a bit puzzled and shocked. I was like, what happened? And I wasn't surprised because I did tell them 3 days early, like the Friday before, I told them, like, he's about to really get annoyed. Like, we have to deliver. And I had said, like, the listings on Monday, they should be ready and this and that because it was, to me, that knows you a little bit, it was obvious that it was about to happen. That you're going to.
So they're warning signs for both you and for them and the whole team, right? So I want to show the audience live what I learned from actually reading a lot about how to hire and fire people. Okay. We live just hired and fired somebody on this podcast. Now, this person wasn't really hired and fired because it's a volunteer thing. It's kind of like a hobby thing. So I don't want to like shame anyone. If it's a real job, I would never do this in real life, right? If salary is involved and all that stuff. It was one of those things where, like, hey kid, do you want to try this startup thing? And on winter break, he said, let me try it, and he didn't deliver. There was actually two people. There was someone dropped out
Yeah.
immediately after they were like, okay, I don't think I can handle this. It's too much time. And then he basically made promises he couldn't deliver. And at this point, we're just breaking up with him. So it's not like even like a firing. But I wanted to kind of simulate what would happen when if you did hire somebody and they did not work out, and what the boardroom would like be like. Do you think that was intense? That what we just went through?
Not really. Like, it's just pointing out facts. Like, it's not like we're making up and like, oh, I don't like him. It's like, man, like there was stuff that had to happen in order for like the next step to be taken with him, and they didn't. So might as well do it now. Because what if then if you get like a pity hire or stuff like that, it's not gonna help us like or like everybody in the team that is actually delivering in the long run. Because that's like the whole point of like having a team is that we each rely on each other, and each one of us has a task that makes the whole thing work.
Do you agree, Magali?
Yes. Sir.
Anything to add? You want to add anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So what about Fat? Let's talk about Fat.
What about Fat? Actually, he's in the
Well-
coding part, so I really don't
Well-
understand what he's doing. But you say he's good.
I want to hear what you say before I say what I say.
So,
What do you think? We're in the boardroom now. What do you think of
so
Fat?
the truth is that I don't know exactly what it what it implies. The work that he has to do, for example, the listings. You know, you've pointed out that there are no listings from 2022. So I don't know how long and how hard or how complex it is for him to get this rolling. I have no idea. So maybe you can enlighten us if it's like a task that takes weeks, or if it's supposed to be something that would be resolved within a day or two.
That's like in one
I mean, it should have been resolved within a
Okay.
couple of weeks, but it wasn't technical. There was some business side to it. You can forgive that maybe. But the main thing is, I agree. I think Fat is not very organized, if that's what you're trying to say. He doesn't finish his task that we give him.
That's a follow-up thing, though.
So if he hits a roadblock, he doesn't get it over very easily, and he doesn't communicate he has a
Oh.
roadblock. And then this task get dropped. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I don't know enough about the work that involves what he does too.
Well, I know
Yeah,
with Fat, like the thing we're saying with Drew is,
Does he show up to
He
meetings
shows up.
consistently, or if he doesn't show up, he lets you
Yeah.
know?
he shows up. He's very he communicates everything, and he's really like so far from what I've seen, he's been there. Like his actual work.
So you defend him. You think he's definitely someone he should be a
Well,
co-founder.
not a like same thing. Like let's come back to the skill set. Like I can't gauge his skill set because I don't know exactly what he's doing. Like that you would understand better. Like each task and everything. I'm not sure how long each thing should take. So it's more on that aspect. I can like see his character and his will to be around, but the actual work itself, I can't gauge it.
Has he produced anything that you've seen? So Drew did not produce anything of value. Did Fat produce anything of value yet? Did we launch anything that he produced?
Nope. Because that was the issue with last week. That like the mass realty site was still not online.
Did he make promises of
The
that?
map search and stuff. Was it him or was it someone else?
Well, remember I said the number one thing I care about is just moving the existing functionality over. And all I needed to do was look at the different URLs, the different pages, and just double check the pages look exactly the same. Those were the very exact instructions I said multiple times. Did I say that? Yes or no? Was that accomplished based on what you pinged him yesterday?
No,
Was he close?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's close enough.
Okay. So let's say he does finish it. Then he would deserve it, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, he's on probation still. Right. So just so the audience knows what happened, last week I was very upset because these guys made promises to me, Fat and Drew. Both of them did not make the deadlines, not just once, and I gave them another week, twice, and the third time. And then when you look under the hood, it didn't look very good, right, Magali?
Yeah.
Right. So Drew is out and Fat is on probation. So we don't know yet. Pending him delivering something that he promised us. So this is not personal. This is a probation period where he promised that I can contribute this thing. If I contribute this, I can become a co-founder and I get a share. Okay? So he may or may
It's
not
pretty
be
good
in.
motivation.
So how do you motivate him? Should I talk to him or should you guys want to talk to him?
I can take care of it. I can talk to him.
Okay. And what would you say to
I
him?
would say to him that we're really under a lot of pressure and we really have to deliver soon because this is spring, this is crucial, and we're in the process of reconsidering if we have to make changes in the team to be able to achieve our goals. And that I'd like to know what's the update on this Q&A and this task that he has to do. And yeah, and I'll set up a deadline with him that is a breaker. I don't know if it's break or die, the expression, something like that. But yeah, make it or pack your stuff. I'm not gonna phrase it.
So what was different between your delivery and what I did like 2 or 3 months ago with the same message? What was the
Softer
difference, you think?
tone.
I will use definitely a softer tone, but I'll make it very clear as well that it's very serious and you know.
No, but do you think 2 months ago the tone was harsh or do you think it was
No,
soft?
2 months ago? No, okay. Basically, you're saying that I'm going to do exactly what you did 2 months ago, and it didn't work. So why would it work now? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not.
Yeah,
You're
okay,
saying
but
that.
I
I didn't
think
say
you're leading
anything.
me to
It's being
you're leading me to
implied.
this conclusion. You're leading me to this conclusion. Yes. You're leading me to think we have done that before. Yes. And here we are.
I mean, like, some different people have different like awakenings at different points of their lives, seeing as how the message is conveyed to them. So at this point, I think Food Fat could actually see this, and if he sees like Drew's not here anymore, and like I'm next on the chopping block, I have to get my shit together, and then you have Magali like follow up on that, like yes you do. I think it could make a difference because right now there's a direct consequence to it, to like what's gonna happen, and he's part of it. He's been part of it like for a little bit now, so even as a routine kind of situation, and like he doesn't. I don't think he would want to lose this, and it's a great opportunity for him. Like everything is like playing out in a way. He has a good team. He has good support. He has you, and that is more like mentoring him a little bit closer. So why would you want to let that go at this point of his life? So I think like he has a lot to
So
lose.
you both vote to keep Fat and give him a little bit more time, and so he can finish his assignment. But pending the
Exactly.
assignment, what and a deadline that you set that he agrees with,
Pending
Yes.
that, if it's not done,
and then
it's,
after that, it
yeah,
just is. After that's pretty
yeah.
clear, right? Basically, the same thing I did 2 months ago in the same tone, the same offer, not
It's not
just
the same
once
thing
but
with Drew.
twice. This is probably the
I'm
fourth
telling
time.
you.
This is probably the
Okay,
fourth
fourth.
offer.
Yeah. Because now there would be like, listen, Drew didn't make it. You're next. So there is right now. It's more like he's not calling our bluff anymore.
Uh,
So Fat, are you watching
You
the
better
show,
be
Fat?
watching.
These guys are fighting for your job. They're fighting for your job.
Hi, Fat.
And Drew, are you listening to this? Right. So who's going to deliver the bad news to Drew?
I
I
can
can
do
do
it.
it.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. And who's going to deliver the news to Fat?
Well, you're
Same
making me
thing.
think that we're not making the right decision, Phuc. You're kind of making me think that you've already, someone shouldn't rise because there's been. I mean, if we've asked months ago to do something and he said he would and he hasn't, then you make a
You know what I'm
point
coming
that
back to? Like right now, remember like back in the days, you asked us if there was this guy, I think one of your programmers or something, that asked for another chance, and we're like, listen, like, he already didn't do it. That was it. So like, let that guy go. And here we are again, like in a kind of similar situation. That
Okay. So you're saying I gave you an example before where I actually almost let someone go, and then I changed my mind, and it actually worked out.
so
You're saying this is a
I think it
situation like
could be.
that.
Like obviously, this would be like definitely like the last kind of like last time kind of situation. and it has changed a bit. Like I'm saying, like there is like a consequence. There's like the bluff. There's no bluff here. So it's either you get his shit together or he's out. Which is kind of like a blunter way of putting it, but it is
Okay.
it does come down to it.
Okay. So let me summarize because we're getting close to the hour. So this is the first board meeting. This is a mock board meeting. What really happens in a board meeting? For real, guys. Okay. This is a very important part of our journey. Who do you start a company with? Who can you trust? When those people let you down, how should you break up with them? How should you set expectations so that when it does happen that they don't succeed, it's very clear to both parties. And it's a very amicable breakup where you don't lose time, you don't lose money too much. And in fact, you come out stronger knowing your weaknesses and what you want to do with life and what you don't want to do with life. Like, for example, people want to do a startup, but then they realize, my God, it's pretty terrible. It's stressful. I don't like this. People kind of like assholes, whatever, like us, right? Making these decisions. They in the boardroom, they do this. Do you think we actually were harsh, or do you think we're reasonable in here, in this boardroom?
I think
I think
we're
it was good.
reasonable.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so that's what happens. So next time you think about corporate America, screwing the common man, firing you for no reason, screwing you your life, right? They have to make decisions like this. And sometimes the boardroom is nicer than us. Sometimes they're worse than us. But this is what happens in real life, guys. It's not they. It's just people. People just trying to trust you, and you don't seem to be trustworthy. Or maybe vice versa. I don't know. Maybe your boss isn't trustworthy. But it's just a relationship thing. And there's no they or us. It's just people. It's just us.
And we did talk about it. Like remember, like in episode
Right?
5, like if you guys want to go back and watch that, about the importance of picking your crew.
Right. But also, I'm giving you executive coaching. I'm giving you this like realization, like, hey, maybe I can step up a little bit more myself. Maybe I can take this accountability, and you accepted it. But you've also accepted it in the past before as well. But you want to take it a little bit more because now I'll give you money. And I'm paying you all the stuff that I owe you before. And now I'm actually, look, I made promises, and I always try to keep them. But sometimes shit happens. But I'm a man of my word. And I'm generous. And we're going to take it a long way because I don't give a shit about money. I care about breaking free of the matrix, which I've finally done. I have my 2 Comma Club badge here with this.
No, we don't. No, we don't. My
chest.
eyes.
Yeah. I'm proud of the 2 Comma Club. No crying this time. And I'm waiting for that 3rd comma. And you guys are going to have the 2 commas too. And you guys have to promise me to get a
You
tattoo,
should get
okay?
a tattoo
Like this.
right now.
No, you guys get it, not me. I already have one. I'll have to brand you with some irons when you come to my house. Just joking. No, don't get the tattoo. Do not get tattoos, kids. I forbid you from getting tattoos. I forbid adults from getting tattoos. Tattoos are stupid, all right? Just do some fake permanent tattoo for like 2 weeks and then take them away. But you, Roberto, you can have it. You're a handsome guy. You can do it.
We
Except
could never
Roberto.
go to the pool
okay?
together.
Just not my kids, okay? Not my kids. I just personally don't like it. But, everyone has a reason to get a tattoo. I think tattoos are basically more like a memory or like a thing you emotionally you want to remember, like a bookmark of your life. Is that true?
Yeah, they're very important. Some don't have meaning, though. If you just feel like tattooing, you get a tattoo. Like, not everything has to be, like, deeper and oh, yeah, why'd you get this? Because I had $50. And that's it.
So to look nonchalant, you get a tattoo.
Yeah, if you feel like it. That's like the beauty of this. Like, it's all choices. And it doesn't have to be a deeper meaning on anything. Some do, definitely. But others are like,
Okay, well, when you get can you get a tattoo of my name then?
where? Where would you want?
Exactly.
Where would you want?
Not so easy, huh?
But I'm like,
Do you have a tattoo of Marguerite's name? Do you have a tattoo of anyone's
I don't
name?
do names. That's a big no-no.
Okay. And Marguerite, you have any tattoos yourself? I
I
forgot
do.
to
I
ask
have
you.
a tattoo in my back. It's a phoenix
Okay. So you're about to
on
rise
my ashes.
and become a co-founder of a real company that got funding. So you guys actually have officially got funding from us, right? Because you can put 5K into, okay? 5K each. I'll put 40K. So I'll put 50K of my own money. I'll spot you guys at 5K. Then I'll give you guys 5K individually because you get really nice, right? Just so you feel like, hey, look, I'm not full of shit, right? And anything we owe, take care of. Anything in the past. And also I'll give you more work on Phuc Labs if we need it, right, professionally, right? And Keith would take care of that. And then Mass Realty will hire this person using that money. And then hopefully you, Fat, and us, we can take this to the next level. And this is something that you guys, the audience, saw the founding story up front of a real company that maybe you can support by buying the product, by checking out the website, by becoming a Mass Realty local. Because for me, it's actually really important because it lets me, it's like my Moby Dick. I told you guys before where I started a company, it failed. I started another company, a social network, it failed. And for me, this is like an idea that was a marriage of the two failures, the real estate failure and the social network failure, and making it into something that is like the Phoenix, Magli. And maybe you're the right leader. You have that tattoo for a reason. Did you mean to say that?
It's nice. It's nice.
That you had a Phoenix
I
tattoo?
never thought we'd talk about that. No.
I didn't know you. So you get to be the leader, right? And maybe your careers and your lives can take a turn from just being, a web designer and a videographer or 2D animator to someone going to Upwork and, doing contracting. Just like my life was upended, right? I was just a student, and then someone asked me, "Hey, let's do something cool," and then I fell in love with the process, and you guys fell in love with this process. You're here for a reason, right? You've been working free, you've been working for discount, you've been working unpaid, you've been working back pay, you've been working like through stressful situations. And I remember I said that one thing that one day in summer of 2020. Magali, do you still remember it?
What of all the things?
Oh, I said something like it's really tough, right? And then the people in this room, the 20-something people or whatever the number of people in this room, like maybe a few of you will survive, and there'll be one or two left. And everyone looked around like, no, it's gonna be me. And Squid Game style, you guys were the two left. And guess where we are,
that's
right?
true.
We're at the beginning of a new journey.
Everybody
Yeah.
believes they have it until you actually test it.
So what do you think went wrong with the other contestants?
Oh, like I was having this conversation at some point with somebody. I was like, everybody thinks they're special, and like the truth of the matter is that at some point, like you have to come to terms with the fact that you're not, and it's a hard moment of like realization of that when you know you don't have it, and you see the difference with you and somebody who actually has this like spark, or what did you call it, and coming to terms with that. It either makes you go and get it, or it just makes you crumble. So as I think of, I'm guessing like grit, and how bad you want it.
Magali, what do you think? So let's say that the people who you personally saw, we broke up with. Would you let's list the top 3 reasons we broke up with
Well,
them.
I think people tend to overpromise and underdeliver. That's something that is an issue. And maybe a lack of focus and organization, lack of organization.
So you're telling me 20-something people lacked focus, lacked organization,
They were
And
overestimating their
overpromise
own
and
capabilities.
underdeliver.
and overpromised and underdelivered.
Is that too harsh?
I don't know.
What do you
What do you
think?
think?
What do you think?
Well, they're not here, right? Right? I mean, that's pretty much what I think. But again, to kind of recap, okay, we're getting to the hour. The way you hire is actually the Netflix way. You can actually go to Netflix. You can Google Netflix hiring practices. They actually use the same hiring practices that I've been using, and most people use the same kind of like basic human kind of process. You have someone come in to your family, to your like maybe your daughter-in-law, or maybe your new dorm mate, or whatever, right? You establish some rules, and you say, look, I hired you for 5 reasons. I married you for 5 reasons. I'm your best friend for 5 reasons. I hired you for 5 reasons. I'm working with you for 5 reasons. I did these things for 5 reasons. 3 of those reasons I know about, but these 2 I'm unsure about. And I need you to be all 5, or 4 out of the 5, or something like that. And I'm going to try to help you. But you have to promise these 2 you're going to improve, and if you don't, you have to realize that this is what I need for this position. And then they come in saying, I want to give it a shot. I know I'm weak on these two, and they make promises to you. And then they underdeliver because of lack of organization and lack of focus. And then they quit or you fire them. And it's really easy. Did that make sense?
Absolutely.
Everything that we just went through exactly fit that formula. And those people I hired, I did the same thing. I said, I'm hiring you because you said on your resume on Upwork, you said these things. And you promised me that you're going to have these 5 skills. I clearly see that you have these 3 skills based on the interview with you and based on your portfolio, based on whatever, my instincts. But I'm not sure about these 2. But let's work together. And can you promise me that you can make these things happen? And then when they don't, we part ways. Because their lack of focus, their lack of motivation, and ultimately, maybe their lack of skill is the reason why they overpromise and underdeliver. Because that's maybe you're stretching yourselves beyond. You want to be Mariah Carey, but you can't hit the note. Okay? And so what should you do with that person? Make them suffer and try to be Mariah Carey?
Man, I'm putting
Forever?
Mariah Carey on the thumbnail.
Singing notes that are off tune and failing, or hey, maybe you shouldn't be Mariah Carey. Maybe you should be, a backup singer, or maybe you should go do a different career, or maybe you should do something where it's not Mariah Carey, but maybe it's in your voice range. Maybe you should do some type of Taylor Swift songs. I don't know, not knocking Taylor Swift, but whatever's easier to sing, right? And so that's the idea behind being human. Human is a relationship where I go and I make you promise, whether it be in your family, hey, I promise I'm going to take care of your daughter. I promise I'm going to take care of your son. I promise I do these 5 things. And you have to evaluate every human. And then along the way, you have to sometimes break up with a human, or you have to do things where you break up with a coworker, or whatever. And at some point, maybe those promises can be kept by some people don't. But some people, the A players, when they make those promises, what do you think I do for you guys? What do you think you guys do for me? We always try to do our best, and we always feel like if we fail, it wasn't because of motivation, like maybe organization, maybe lack of focus sometimes, but maybe also lack of funds, which I understand. Lack of, is this the right idea? Lack of understanding of comprehension, but in communication and desire and all that stuff is more important, because in the end, it's about friendship as well. Where I say, cover me. And I'll tell you what happened to Phat, okay? My opinion of Phat. Phat has been in all the time. I just wanted to see if you came to the same conclusion. Okay? He has to deliver. He has to deliver stuff. He just hasn't done it consistently. He hasn't had the focus or organization. Okay? But he has delivered promises.
Cool.
Right? And he has done it on Phuc Labs. He has done some stuff, but he hasn't completed things. He's not a finisher. That's his weakness. He needs a closer. And I'm not sure you guys are finishers either, right? Where you guys have to get everything perfect and hit the deadline. But this is your chance too, because now you have the resources. Because you told me that there were 2 things holding you guys back. There was, the money, which now we have, right? And maybe the clear roles, which we now have. And I can criticize you right here on the show, and I can criticize myself as a leader. I should have done this a long time ago, but I was broke. Okay? And also, I was trying all these crazy ideas of how to hire people, and I was learning how to hire the best people and how to be really good at this new Upwork, new environment, new kind of growing, and then find the right people. But also, it's a crapshoot. How could 20 people, only one of them or 2 of them work out? Because it's only 1% of us. 1% of entrepreneurs that exist in the world. I try to get as many as I can in a bunch of 20. I spent a lot of money, wasted a lot of time, but I found you guys. I also found P Money. I found Midnight. I found Aaron. I found Rick. I found, all these people who then co-founded Phuc Labs with me, and you guys as well. And guess what? That was the mission. That was the whole point. And remember I said this is going to happen, Magali. Where you're going to, when you start a company, you might have to date a bunch of people before you get married. And that's exactly what we did. Anyway, that's a good way to
It
wrap
is.
up the show. Any last parting words,
No,
guys?
thanks a
Thanks
lot
for
for
having me.
everything's been fun, and see you guys next week, all you Fooksters.
Thank you, Fooksters. Hopefully you had fun at this board meeting.
Bye.
See ya.